Een van harte goedenavond en vandaag zijn we er weer met een andere episode van de Mi Kruyara podcast. Gisteren hadden we nog Roberto Geudeken na de overwinning van de Caribbean Cup samen met Robin Hood. En vandaag gaan we praten met iemand die heel dichtbij en nauw werkt met het Jamaicaans elftal. En dat is niemand minder dan Simon Preston. Let's bring him on stage. Simon Preston, welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And hello to everybody in Suriname. Never been there, but one day for sure we'll visit.
Can't wait to have you here, man. It's an honor to have you on this podcast because the work you've done is like you're living the dream of most journalists around. So it's really an honor having you on this podcast. Let's start with who is Simon Preston?
Yes, so Simon Preston, I'm the team media officer of the Jamaican National Team, the senior team. It was a journey that started earlier this year in around June. That's when it started. But I mean, my experience and journey in sports media started back in around 2010. There was a sports quiz show on television in Jamaica. I ended up being the winner of that competition, and by virtue of that being an analyst on television for the 2010 World Cup, 2014 World Cup, 2018 World Cup. So that's where the journey began in that sense. But I would say 2010 was a starting point, and being able to communicate more with members of the Jamaica Football Federation and being able to scout players of Jamaican heritage in Europe. And I would say I'm enjoying a path and love of country. So it's been quite a path in our life. And I've been able to travel to over 35 countries. So it's really been a blessing. I'm thankful for God for that. So it's been quite good and a pleasure to be able to speak with you as well.
Okay, thank you. What was it like growing up in Jamaica?
Growing up in Jamaica for me, so we're an island, so it's very, very hot. So that's something that we're known for on the island. Growing up in Jamaica is an interesting experience because of our backgrounds. Just like Suriname, Jamaica is also a diverse nation as well. So I'm mixed as well, half white, half Indian. So that's my sort of background. Other persons in Jamaica, different sorts of mixtures. And with that diversity, of course, you have different ideas, different thoughts, processes, different sorts of people as well. But that's what unites Jamaica as an island, the different type of people coming together. And I'm sure it's the same in Suriname as well. Indian, Javanese, blacks.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same in Suriname as well, with that diversity too. So growing up in Jamaica, went to school, university on the island. So it's been home for me and has been home for me my entire life. The only time leaving the country, of course, is vacation and, of course, traveling with the national team and stuff like that. Jamaica is a really, really blessed country because of where they are in the Caribbean. You know, a lot of sporting accomplishments outside of football, track and field, cricket. Truly is a wonderful nation that has done a lot on the world stage. And truly it's a country that has made its mark internationally as well. And similar to Suriname as well, when you're bearing in mind the abundance of players that have left Suriname and gone on to represent the Netherlands, for an example. I think that just shows, you know, the quality of talent on the island in the mainland Suriname. And of course, it has to be down to the food there as well, the different spices, everything. So when you put all of that together, you know, our countries have done well.
Okay, at what age did you first came in contact with sport and fell in love with sports?
I would say probably around 4 or 5 years old. So I have a brother that I lived with, and he taught me about football, and I would have a book where I would make notes about matches, scores, results, and for me, that helped in my memory and to be able to know a lot about the game and the results. So that's when it all started, I would say around 4 or 5. So this was 1997, 1998, thereabouts, the same time that Jamaica was lost at the World Cup. So for me, that's where the journey began in that sense and growing in love for it. So it started with football. I mean, of course, there are other sports that I like, but football was my first love, and to this day is my first love as well.
Did you play soccer yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So in school, I played football. I started off in goal as a goalkeeper because of my height. Because right now I'm 1 meter 96, so that's 6'5". But growing up as a kid, I was also quite tall as well. So I was that goalkeeper. And then later on, going into my teenage years, I played as a centre back, and centre back is a position that I've been comfortable with, even when I played football in university as well. So for me, I think the reason why I didn't progress further on is because of back injuries that I had. So because of my height, I had lower back problems. But I wouldn't say my ambition was to be a professional football player. I just wanted to be involved within the game and, administration. And I can honestly say that I'm very happy to be in the position that I am right now. So I'll continue doing my best, and I know that everything will continue to fall into place for sure.
Yeah, man, for sure. You have some achievement like the set play you mentioned earlier. You also received an award from the Prime Minister. Um, what was it like receiving that award? How what did you do to receive that?
Yeah, wow, it's bringing back memories because that was 2013, so that was 10 years ago. I was 19 years old at the time, and to this day, it's a record for a teenager to receive that award within the Caribbean. Basically, it's about the volume of work that I've done within the industry, being able to scout players, identify players of Jamaican heritage, my experience within the media as well, being on television and radio, commentating and analyzing football matches and other sporting disciplines as well. That was the reason that helped me to receive that award. Truly grateful for it, and I would say it's one of my favorite trophies that I've received in my entire life. So it was a wonderful experience, and I sometimes reflect on that journey as well 10 years later as we're in 2023. So it's been good, and I'm thankful for it for sure.
And spoken about journey, what was your journey like to becoming part of the Jamaican Football Federation?
Quite an interesting one. I mean, 2010, of course, I would say that's where it started because it started to communicate more with persons in the JFF, provide information to players. I wouldn't say it was a official position in that time, but it was just more a situation of helping the coach, helping the manager get to know players, get contact information for players. And that carried on for a number of years. And I did that from my heart, and that is something that I did, for my country, and I was very happy doing. And it was this year that the new head coach came in, Coach Algrimson. He liked the work that I've been doing and wanted to have me a part of his staff. So I honestly am grateful to be part of his staff. Moving forward, it's something that I'm enjoying. He's a great coach. He's like a father figure because he gives encouragement, he gives advice, he tells you things you need to work on or to improve on. So he is just an amazing person. Coach Halgrimson, his assistant coaches as well, Coach Maron Gordon, Coach John Wall. So the coaching staff, it's like a family, you could say. Yes, that's Coach Halgrimson on your screen, the man that used to be the coach of Iceland, that guided Iceland to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, of the Euros rather, in 2016. And of course, the smallest country in terms of population to get to a World Cup was Iceland, and that was 2018. And that's recently, that picture on your screen after the victory over Canada a few weeks ago. special moment, really, really special moment. And as you can see, it's like a family. It's like a family with the staff. We plan regularly for future camps, what we can improve, how can we make it better, and that's how you grow as a team. And it really is, I can say, the best experience of my life. I can honestly say that it's been a dream come true, and I just want to continue doing my best so that there'll be further opportunities like this. But it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience, my friend.
Good. You're also very diverse. I've seen videos you reporting cricket, rugby, track and field. What is it like doing or reporting different sports? Is it difficult? Do you have to uh, play the sport to be able to do that? What does it take to do that?
Mm. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I understand. I when you're working in media in Jamaica, when I used to work in mainstream media, the thing is that you have to have a knowledge of the different sports. That is very important because there's so much things that are happening, and it's important that you know what is happening around you, and that is the reason why you have to be able to report on these things. So, do you have to play the sports? No. But what is important is knowing the rules of the game. If you know the rules of all of these sports, it will help. So, for example, I didn't play rugby in school, but by understanding the rules, it helps you to report it on it better for sports news and whatever it is that you're reporting on. So, that's incredibly important to be able to know the rules of all the games. It helps. Rugby, track and field, cricket, lacrosse. For me, I whenever it comes to Team Jamaica, whichever sport that is, football, cricket, track and field, rugby, lacrosse, I'm a patriot, so I want my country to do well. So, that's why you could say I have a knowledge of these other sporting disciplines as well. But football is far, far, far away number one, and always will be in my life. But it's been a good experience to answer your question in terms of reporting on the different sports. I've actually gone to the World Championships in track and field and covered Jamaica. This was 2017 in London when Usain Bolt ran his last race for Jamaica. So I was there in London. I've also been overseas, cricket as well, the Jamaica cricket team in the Caribbean Premier League. So I've, been overseas for that as well. And also in the sport of lacrosse as well, traveling to the United States and traveling to Colombia in South America as well, covering Jamaica's lacrosse team as well. So, yeah, I've done a lot of different reporting as well in different sports. And, of course, rugby. Jamaica was in the Rugby World Cup in England last year. So it's been quite a bit of trouble, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What an achievement that one was. The first Caribbean team to be at the world stage, right? Jamaica.
Yeah, Jamaica has been the first quite a number of times. The FIFA World Cup, of course, the first English-speaking. In rugby, the first Caribbean country to go to a World Cup as well. Lacrosse, Jamaica as well, first Caribbean as well. So a lot of things that Jamaica has done first. It's quite special for the country that Jamaica is. So it's been good, seeing this progress as a nation for sure.
Okay, there are so many different sports you guys are good at in Jamaica, like you just mentioned. But what is the main sport? Because when I watch certain games, as I was watching the Caribbean Cup, for instance, most recently, and you look at the participation, the public, but when you compare it to Suriname, like the home game when Robin Hood played here, we had a full stadium, and when we look at the game in Jamaica, it was like empty. What
Yeah,
what is the main sport in Jamaica? Is it
yeah,
rugby, cricket?
yeah. Yeah, football is number one, then
Yeah.
track and field, and then after that you'd have cricket. So those would be top three in Jamaica. And you're absolutely right. And maybe you can talk a little bit more about this, but you can tell me the population of Suriname, but in Jamaica there's 3 million people. So during the Caribbean Cup, they always had schoolboy football matches, high school football matches on the same day as the Caribbean Cup. And there's a strong culture in Jamaica to go to these high school football matches, because this is like the future of Jamaican football. So even for the final, Robin Hood Cavalier on Wednesday, there are other matches taking place where the fans were. So that's one reason. And secondly, Cavaliers doesn't really have a fan base. They don't have a home stadium. If it was, say, Harbourview Robin Hood or Portmore United Robin Hood, you would see loads of fans in the stands because they have a strong fan base. You know what I'm saying? So maybe in the first leg of Robin Hood, you could tell me if they were all Robin Hood fans or it's just this supporting Suriname club and wanting a Suriname team to do well, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The second.
Yeah. And maybe it's down to, you can tell me that the population of Suriname, does Suriname have 1 million people, 500,000 people?
No, not yet. 600,000, around 600K.
600,000. Yeah. So smaller country, so, you know, the people would more be involved in stuff like that. You know, Jamaica, 3 million people, everybody's all over the place.
And what are those matches like? The ones you were talking about, the youth matches.
Yes.
Is there a lot to see there? New talent, exciting talents.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of fans in the stands, a lot of noise. Persons are blowing their blowhorns or whistles. It's always very, very passionate, a lot of vibes. But yes, the talent coming out is good. But my issue is that at the end of the schoolboy season, they're tired. So by the time they get to play Jamaica, they're so tired, you know. So, you know, I think our best players should play for their clubs, not their high schools. That's how I feel, honestly. Our best players, teenagers should play for their clubs, club football, and not be playing for their high school. Like, look at Jonathan Funkel, 18 years old and playing for the best team in Suriname, Robin Hood. Our 18-year-olds should be playing for their clubs, you know, not for high school. That's how I feel. So Jonathan Funkel, Shaquille Cairo, they're playing for their clubs, you know.
Do you see a bright future ahead for those players? Jonathan Fonkel, Shaquille Cairo, Renska Adipi, who became the best player in the Caribbean?
Yes, absolutely. You know, I watched all of Robin Hood matches in Jamaica, all of them, every single one of them, and I was really, really impressed. It didn't surprise me because I had Robin Hood to at least get to the semifinals. I knew they would at least get to the semifinals of the competition. I was very impressed because I know the players quite well, especially those that play for Suriname national team. You know, Jamila Richard, Shaquille Cairo. I was so happy to see Jonathan Funkel get the call up for the matches against Haiti and Grenada. So happy that he got that call up. And I think the future is bright for him and also for Suriname football as well. You know, I personally think Funkel should start for Suriname. Many people might not. I think Funkel should start for Suriname.
Exactly. The same thing I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Cairo, eventually, Cairo will play more games. I understand the players that play overseas in Holland and other places, but Cairo as well, I think he'll get his chance. And I mean, you see it in the Robin Hood team, technical, and they work together. And I was very impressed by what I saw from Robin Hood, and I think they'll do well in the CONCACAF Champions Cup next year. I think they'll do okay. You know, round of 16 depends on who they play. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if they go to the quarterfinals. Wouldn't surprise me.
With your knowledge and experience about the Champions Cup, when you watch all the games Robin Hood played, how do you rank them against the teams? Because that's a level higher, right?
Yeah. Yes. So the clubs that play in the MLS in America and Mexico, they're professional clubs, and I know, you know, the general manager of Robin Hood, Stanley, is always saying that they are a amateur club. They're not semi-professional, they're amateur clubs. So I understand that. But I do think the talent is good enough to compete. It's just about the preparation. So the players in Robin Hood, they now need visas. They need to get their American visa. That's important, one. And the next thing is to stay together, stay in camp. So by the time February comes, they'll be ready, because in February the MLS season does not start as yet. The MLS season is in March, so Robin Hood will actually be in season, in form. Whereas MLS clubs, clubs in America, they won't be in season. They'll be in preseason form. So Robin Hood will be a little bit sharper than these other clubs. So that's how I feel, that Robin Hood could do. But most likely it's going to be Robin Hood against a team from America or a team from Mexico. One of those two places.
Great.
Sure. Yeah.
What are the benefits that come along with winning the Caribbean Cup? Because we are here in Suriname, everybody is happy. Like this is the first time something like this happens, or many people experience this. But we don't understand the magnitude of this accomplishment.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a bit more?
Yeah. So
About,
it's
yeah.
been quite a year, because Robin Hood won the Caribbean Club Shield and now the Caribbean Cup. So two trophies in 1 year. It's big, and I'll explain why. It's because of, first thing, television. So there's more eyes on Robin Hood. 100 million people on television watch the final Cavalier against Robin Hood. 100 million people. So more people, more scouts are watching these players, looking at them, and eventually, this will do well for the country, because they're going to be scouted, and eventually some players are going to earn contracts overseas, which is very, very good for the club and also for Suriname as well. So that is one positive. And the next thing is the money that Robin Hood will get. The money that Robin Hood will get, they'll invest it into the club and also help them prepare for the CONCACAF Champions Cup next year. So those are two big positives for that. And thirdly, persons are going to look at Suriname and saying, what is happening in Suriname? Why is Suriname producing so many great players? So that's another positive as well. And I think that it's going to help the national team by the time the World Cup qualifiers come around next year. I mean, maybe you can give a bit more insight into that for the overseas players, but I do think that Robin Hood will help the Suriname national team next year. That's what
Now, one thing a lot of people have been asking, lately we've seen the prize money for the Champions Cup, but how much do they get for the Caribbean Cup?
Yeah, it's supposed to be 200,000 US dollars, 200,000 US. I'm not sure the conversion in your currency, but 200,000
Yeah.
US dollars. So
Okay,
that's
for the winner of the Caribbean Cup. Okay,
for the right.
and
Correct.
that. But another thing I want to get into is you was talking about a lot of people be watching these games, a lot of scouts. Maybe there is interest overseas, but
Mhm.
a lot of players in the region don't have an agent. I was talking to one of the players, one of the Surinamese players who's playing for Cavaliers, Brian Elshot, on the first podcast, and he
Yeah.
said he doesn't have a representative, and um, it isn't working all that well for him. So if players do get noticed by a scout or anything like that, what should they do if they don't have a representative?
Yeah. If they don't have a representative, they can speak with their coach who is at their club for advice, and after getting the advice, then they can make that decision, as a player. So I'm sure, like Shaquille Cairo will also do the same as well. Talk to Coach Roberto of Robin Hood about his next move, club move, and all of that. So that is something they will think about. So talking to the coaching staff, that will help, until they get an agent, because you have to choose the agent wisely, because of course it
Yeah.
has to be somebody who you can trust. But in time, it will come. It will fall into place.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
You met with a lot of big athletes. I've seen you with Florent Maluda. I've seen you with Ruud van Nistelrooy, one of my favorite forwards. You also met Usain Bolt, of course. Can you tell us a bit about the period around the Usain Bolt, the whole euphoria when you won that gold medal, the whole period? How was it in Jamaica? How was it like a national holiday? How did the nation of Jamaica receive that?
Yeah, in Jamaica, persons are very happy, especially for the world record that he broke. The country was in a celebratory mood. The entire streets, you were filled with people, you clapping their hands and also, celebrating and dancing with music. So that's what the streets were like when Usain Bolt was was in action and representing the country. Very, very proud. We didn't get a national holiday, but still it was still a day that everybody was happy about. The last time that we got a public holiday for a sporting aspect was when Jamaica qualified for the World Cup in 1998. That's the last time we got a holiday like that. So we have to qualify for 2026 to make that a reality again. But yes, it's when Usain Bolt does well, Chris Gayle in cricket, you know, in football, the likes of, Leon Bailey, Mikel Antonio, winning the UEFA conference last year. Those are, something that brought the country a lot of pride and joy, in terms of the performances. So sports really has an impact on people in Jamaica, and it really can change the mood of people at work, in the workplace, at school. So that's the impact and the power of what our sports can do.
Our sports really stimulated in Jamaica. Like in Suriname, when children grow up and they go do some sport and they talk to their parents and they tell their parents like, "Mom, Dad, I want to be a professional soccer player." Like their parents go literally tell them, "You better go do your schoolwork and find a job because it's not guaranteed and stuff like that. You won't get any money." You know, it's not encouraging doing sports here for most children growing up. What is it like in Jamaica? Do the school stimulate that when they see certain kids have talent?
Um, I would say it's starting to change in Jamaica. When I was a kid, sports was viewed as recreation, not as, a career path that you can choose. But now sports is being considered very, very big for scholarship opportunities to go to schools, universities, and also to feed their families as well. So sports now is being considered in that light that you can be able to go and pursue. But back when I was a kid, it wasn't like that. So it has changed in Jamaica. It has changed over the last 20 years for sure. So that's progress. So sports is now being viewed as an area where people can provide for their families and even pay for their education as well. So it's progress from Jamaica in that standpoint. But everybody, when they start going to school in Jamaica, they play three sports. You do football, you do track and field, and you do cricket. Everybody, boy or girl, you have to do those three sports when you're in school. After school, fine, that's it.
What is your most interesting experience as a sports journalist?
That's a good question. I'm gonna have to think about that. Most interesting. Hmm, that's a good one. Me and the travel, I've always enjoyed traveling, so that has been really good being able to practice my other languages. I can speak Spanish, I can speak French. I need to learn Dutch, so that's the fourth language of CONCACAF. So Dutch is the language I have to learn next. So
Okay.
one step at a time. But I would honestly say the travel, those experiences have been truly helpful. You get to see a different culture outside of Jamaica, different way of life, different weather, you know. So I would say the traveling has been, some of the great experiences that I've had in this field for sure. And being able to see Lionel Messi twice in my life, once, against Jamaica and once against Manchester United, my club. So being able to see them as well, seeing Cristiano Ronaldo as well. So there have been some great experiences. I've been to Old Trafford. I've been able to go to the Emirates Stadium, Man City Stadium. It's been good. It's been good, man.
You're a big Man United fan, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's the club that I support. I mean, honestly, since I joined the coaching staff for Jamaica, since I became team media officer, I haven't watched a lot of Manchester United's games this season. I've been focusing on my country and not club. But yeah, I see where they are in the table. Lots of work needs to be done. But yes, I've watched Manchester United in the Champions League, in the Premier League, home and away. So it's been a wonderful experience as well to watch them play.
What is it like working with top athletes? Are there any challenges? What is it you like about working with those guys?
They're very driven, very motivated. So they know that when it's time to go in the gym, they're in the gym. Whenever it's time to go training, they're training. Breakfast time, always punctual. So working with professional athletes, they know they're disciplined, and I think that rubs off on the staff as well, so that the coaching staff is sharp as well, ready, on time. So that's one of the best things working with the professional athletes. They know what they need, and they are on it all the time, very sharp and consistent. And it's the same as well with the staff as well, because it rubs off on as well on the team. So that is something I like working with as well, and especially that player on the screen to my right, Kevin Lambert, supremely talented midfielder, box to box, energetic, a lot of strength. So yeah, great motivation as well.
Can you tell us about your role within the coaching staff? What do you bring to this Jamaican team?
Well, I would say that in my position as team media officer, the information in relation from preparing coaching staff and also players as well, with information on teams, and also for us as well, preparing for press conferences, for interviews, what will the media ask as well. So those are things that I would bring as well, help them prepare so that they say, the right things and ensure that everybody is on the same page. So that's something I would say I bring information on the opponents, information on players, for the opposition. So I would say that what I bring as well is special to the program for sure.
So you're also an analyst. You analyze the opponents. You work closely with the coach. How do you guys prepare for matches?
Well, in terms of preparation for matches, each team is different. So, for example, analyzing Suriname might be different from analyzing, for example, USA, in terms of the preparation. But in a sense, it's about the players, their most recent matches, certain players' clips. So for example, Shaquille Cairo, watching his games for club and country as well, seeing his strengths, seeing his weaknesses. What can we do to stop him, in the games? Okay, Jonathan Funkel, we know he's an amazing shot stopper. Okay, what if we take our shots on this side instead of that side? So looking at the video footage so that we can be able to best prepare for our opponents,
You guys reached the semis for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Can you walk us through that experience?
Yes, it's the first time in 4 years that we went to qualified for the semifinals of the Gold Cup. It was a good journey as well. Started the campaign against the USA in Chicago, scored the opening goal, and then the last minute of the game, USA equalized. The next game we took on Trinidad, and we know it's a big Caribbean rivalry, I can tell you. Sean, it's a big Caribbean rivalry. We won the game 4-1, and it was also Coach Halgrimson's first win in charge of Jamaica. And also Damari Gray scoring 2 goals on his birthday, so it was great for him. The next game against St. Kitts, our biggest win in Gold Cup history, a 5-0 win. The quarterfinals was special because it was Guatemala, 95% of the stadium, Guatemalan fans. We win the game 1-0, So that was extremely important for us in scheme of things, and to get to the semifinals against Mexico. A short turnaround because we played Mexico on the Wednesday. We traveled the Monday. We trained the Tuesday, and we played the Wednesday. So it was very quick turnaround, but I'm still proud of the Gold Cup journey and what we are accomplished. I think we did really well. Really, really well.
Okay, best or worst moments. Could you describe one of each?
Best moment, I would say that the picture that you're seeing on the screen, the Canada game, 3 goals in 16 minutes, beating Canada in Canada for the first time ever in our history, qualifying for the semifinals in the cold. Canada was already preparing to qualify for Copa America. They're already celebrating, and we got the win. We got the very, very special win. So for me, that would be the best moment. And honestly, no worse moment, because I love every single minute of working with my country. Every single minute, every single day is a special day, a special moment. So honestly, there's no worse moment. There are always wonderful, special moments.
Okay, what are your thoughts on the development of football in the Caribbean? A lot of change has been taking place. Diaspora players are being used all over. How do you see the development of the countries in the region?
Yeah, I do think there's progress. Still some distance to go, but I think there's progress. I think what will help us as a country, as a Caribbean, is if we can start making our leagues professional or even semi-professional. Start paying players a decent wage. Maybe put a minimum bracket. If every player in the Caribbean in their league is getting at least 500 US to start, eventually build their way to $1,000 a month. I think that's a good way to start. So professionalizing the league, getting players to play and train regularly. I think that's one thing to improve. But yes, you're right in terms of the diaspora players. That is going to help. That's going to help Jamaica, Suriname, Trinidad, Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Kitts. That's going to help everybody. And that's why these World Cup qualifiers are going to be very, 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 very tough for the entire Caribbean,
You guys also had quite a run in the CONCACAF Nations League, and you just mentioned the match against Canada. I also watched that match. I was screaming, like shouting for Jamaica to progress, to go through. When you guys scored those goals, it was like, I don't know, like the way I was feeling it right here. And I'm not a Jamaican. I can't even imagine how it felt for you guys, like accomplishing that. The coaching staff, the players. What was it like? Can you put them in the top 3 best moments?
Top 3, yes, for
Yeah.
sure. Absolutely. Especially, where we're coming from with, trailing 2-1, and then Canada scored 3-1. Then going into a second half, we scored 2 goals. It's 3-3. Canada score again, so we need 1 more goal. We score, and then all of a sudden we get a red card. So the drama, it was a roller coaster, but to pull off the victory, that was the special part of it. And it will always be with us. In the cold, in Canada, trust me, it was special. Really, really special.
You guys already been to the World Cup. You guys are on the right track again. On the other hand, Suriname is also a country on the rise, wanting to reach the World Cup for the first time. What are the things that need to be done to accomplish something like that? Because here in Suriname, what we have seen, like the federation, the soccer federation, took a big time coach like Aaron Winter, getting big players, and they immediately expect to progress to the World Cup. When there are FIFA windows, they don't plan any matches and stuff like that. So what should Suriname do if they are really serious about reaching or qualifying for the World Cup?
Yeah, you have to use all of those FIFA windows. So March is the next FIFA window. It will be important for Suriname to play matches in that FIFA window because the World Cup qualifiers are in June. So you want to use that March window, and that is important. And it doesn't have to be far because you can look to your neighbors. You have French Guyana to your right, you have Guyana to your left. So you have options around that you can help. There's flights from Suriname to Trinidad almost every day, so you have options. So it's about ensuring that you're utilizing what is available to you. So that is going to be very, very important for Suriname to use the March window wisely, so that the World Cup qualifiers, you have preparation under your belt.
Good. Let's talk about women's soccer. You guys had quite a development in that regard. Can you tell us a bit about that part? Because women's soccer here, as we see it, the development is really slow. It doesn't get the same attention as the male players get. So, can you tell us some more about that?
Well, it's quite an accomplishment to have a team qualify for back-to-back World Cups, and it was quite a time for Jamaica, first Caribbean team to qualify for the round of 16 of a World Cup in 85 years. Last time would have been Cuba back at the 1938 World Cup. So this is truly a special moment for Jamaica and also for the Caribbean as well. So our national women's team have done the country proud, qualifying for back-to-back World Cups, men and women, for women, and that is a special moment and one that is building. And we have a lot of young players as well for the future, which is very, very good. So 2027, we want to make it 3 times in a row. So that is something that we're building towards.
And how does it work? Like the development of women's soccer, like in Jamaica itself, is there a lot of participation from young girls who are looking up to the current achievements and say like we want to achieve that too?
Yes, for sure. So we have uh, a girls' league. We have a high school women's league. We also have a national women's Premier League as well. So we have the consistency in women's football on the island as well, and persons who love football and want to play it as well. So there is that interest and the desire, and we're very happy for it.
Copa America. Um, you guys are going to play the Copa America again. Um, the pools are already available now. What do you see for Jamaica in a Pool B of the Copa America? Do you
Yes,
see them in the top two?
absolutely. So Group B, you have Mexico, there's Ecuador and Venezuela. Yes, top two I do think is more than achievable for Jamaica in this Copa America tournament, and it's a great opportunity to show to the world what we're capable of in this big tournament. Play two high quality South American teams at least in the group stages. So there's a lot of excitement building for it, and an exciting 2024 because we have the Nations League semifinals, we have World Cup qualifying, we have the Copa America. So 2024 is going to be a very busy year.
Okay, now we have 6 teams that have qualified. Two playoffs, two matches still need to be played. Canada and against Trinidad and Honduras versus Costa Rica. Now that we have 6 teams from the CONCACAF region, is this a big boost for CONCACAF football?
Yes, for sure. And we had in Copa America 2016, we also had 6 CONCACAF teams as well. So this is very good to have 6 CONCACAF teams in this competition, and it shows the level of competition in our region. And we just need to go out there and do our best as CONCACAF now. Show what we're capable of, do our best as a region, work hard, and show that we can do well against South American teams.
And how can we develop soccer in the region? like we all have the same goal, become better and have players getting professional contracts, going overseas. What can we do together, like the different countries working with each other? Are there possibilities? What can we do as a collective, the Caribbean, to bring football to a higher level in the region?
Maybe we should bring back the Caribbean Cup, the international Caribbean Cup, so that we can have at least that higher competitive drive, and that also we can also have that, you know, that vibe of playing against your fellow islands and fellow nations, Jamaica, Suriname, Trinidad, Cuba, Haiti. Bring back the Caribbean Cup. I think that will be important as well, so that our domestic-based players can get an opportunity to play.
Okay, great. I think that's all for this episode of the podcast. We spoke about the different things, Copa America, the chances of the region getting on a higher level. Do you have anything to add?
Um, Look, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate being on the show. Good that we are able to work out the time, and you know, feel free to message me anytime, and we can be able to talk Jamaican football or Surinamese football in the future. And if Jamaica plays Suriname in the future, I'm sure that we will talk again. So let us stay in touch.
Yeah, for sure. We will stay in touch. Looking forward to that matchup. It's only good for the development of both nations. And looking forward to see you coming to Suriname also.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I told Sean, like when he mentioned you, I told him you look exactly like someone I already met in real life. Like you look like someone from Suriname. So
Wow.
I think you'll like it here.
Yes, thank you. I need
Uh,
to learn Dutch. I need to learn some Dutch as well. But in time, in time.
Okay, great. Thanks for joining in. Dat was het voor deze aflevering met Simon Preston. Hij is de press officer van het Jamaicaans elftal en ook nog master analyticus. Hij heeft ook nog zijn eigen programma's op YouTube en hij is bij de Jamaicaanse TV report hij verschillende sporten. Dat was het voor deze aflevering. Tot de volgende keer.